Bees, and welcome to a very special Scuzz special. Lots of specials there in the intro.
Feeling very special.
With Mr. Jason Newsted. How you doing, man?
Good, thank you.
So we open this show the same way every single time, which is, who were the first musicians that made you want to pick up a bass guitar? And going off of what we were saying before we started rolling, no pressure, but mine was you.
Nice. So, no big deal.
Yeah, no pressure.
No, I appreciate that. But I think in my childhood, I have two older brothers, one 5 and one 8 years older. Their record collections were kind of diverse. They had some rock and some heavy stuff, and that was the 70s, right? So they had Black Sabbath albums, things like that. But mostly in our household, funk music played.
Right.
And rhythm and blues music played. And Earth, Wind & Fire and Ohio Players, and even some more obscure bands, The Sun and LTD and some of these other funk bands. And we lived in Kalamazoo, Michigan. It was about halfway in between Detroit and Chicago on the main freeway of I-94. And so when I was a kid, I could go into Woolworths and find these records for 19 cents and 29 cents for 45s with like garage funk and different things. So without me even knowing it, music, songs that were bass dominated were always in my house. And that's where I got bit early without knowing it. And Jackson 5 and all that kind of thing, just worshipped every line, everything. And now I go back and listen to James Jamerson bass, and I hear why I liked it so much, because of how good the bass was. There was something there for me. Once it came around and I got a bass when I was 13 or 14 years old, I mostly just focused on the records that my brothers had in their collections, and I would try to learn a few pieces here and there, putting the record, and needle back on the vinyl and trying to learn some songs. And sometimes those were, Jeff Beck albums or Doobie Brothers records or things like that still had really pretty sick bass lines, because Stanley Clarke and some other dudes that played some pretty wicked bass. And I just tried to figure out a little bit at a time. Then in junior high, a kid brought a Kiss record. And I saw these guys, and was obviously motivated, like most of us at that time, by the cartoon character imagery and larger-than-life kind of vibe. Very attractive. So Gene Simmons influenced me to be more like of a showman bass guy and wanting to really take it a little more seriously. And then Geddy Lee from Rush and Rob Grange from the Ted Nugent Band, things like that. Bands that were popular in the Midwest, and especially in Ohio and Michigan and Canada and stuff, so that would have been Nugent and Rush and Alice Cooper and things like that.
So Where Flotsam and Jetsam's the first thing that we associate you with. That must have given you an extra edge as a bassist, like having grown up on all that sort of funk stuff. It's not what you'd associate with guys that had that were part of the thrash scene at that time.
I think the bass thing, I always started on bass. I mean, I got a guitar when I was 9 years old, an acoustic guitar and stuff, but probably about a year and a half later, it was the 3 keys on a side, student guitar like that. I took the middle 2 keys off the top, so it would have 4 keys, and then 2 strings down the edge of the neck and 2 down the middle. But I wanted it to be a bass, even back then on acoustic body.
So you stole out early.
Kind of, yeah. I think I still have that instrument. So anyway, that was the deal. I always was attracted to that bass thing, and once Gene Simmons came and that just started taking place, I think that helped me through when we got into Flotsam and played those different things. There's always been a bit of a bounce, a bit of a jump to the music I've been involved in writing. Even in the Metallica stuff and Blackened and stuff like that, there's still funk to it. There's still funk to it. And a lot of the Newsted music, a lot of funk, I think, too. A lot of groove. It's metal with a heavy groove,
And I suppose to talk about you entering Metallica, a lot is said about that period of time and the sad circumstances, but not a lot is really known about the actual rehearsal you had with those guys. How would you describe the vibe in the room at that time? Because when we've seen the bits of behind the music and things like that, where
it's edited.
Yeah. Like, how would you describe the vibe in the room when you walked in? Like, Jason from Flotsam and Jetsam walks in with his bass. Because of the playing field that we found ourselves on, an incredible, very special person, Jimi Hendrix of bass, in my opinion, was taken. And so, way, 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 way too early. And his fate brought about my destiny. And it's tough ground to stand on, and it was very surreal to begin with, because Metallica is my favorite band and I get a chance to go play with them, and so already I'm levitating, my head's spinning, it's just a crazy thing. In the room itself, in the building itself, was very tense and somber and a bit sad and those kind of things, and everybody was considerably inebriated.
You know, like
Yeah, well-oiled.
Yeah, I think that I auditioned maybe 27 or 28 days after Cliff actually was killed. Probably 2 weeks after they spread his ashes up north in California. You know, that I was actually in the room playing out of his amp. You know, so it was a weird vibe, and they went to bed drinking, waking up drinking. You know, it's just the way it was. They were trying to grieve and not knowing how to do. 23 and 24-year-old men that had no idea or like really any kind of serious family structure within any of those persons' lives in order to build that kind of capacity where you could know what to do when it was time to grieve about something serious like this. Nobody had that. Nobody would have known about that or was taught that.
And it was someone from their gang.
It was their teacher. You know, Cliff was the one everybody else looked up to in that band. Every band has a person that they look up to.
Yeah.
Or the leader or the thing like that, the gifted one. He was the gifted one. Even amongst people like Hammett and Hetfield, he was still the gifted one. So that's pretty heavy. And so he taught them a lot of things through time. And so to have that teacher and that great admired one taken away like that was pretty heavy. They didn't care about anybody else. I could have been made of freaking plutonium and walked in there and they wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
You know, it just didn't matter. They didn't want anybody standing over there other than their boy.
Yeah.
And so, and the powers that be and the things that were going on, they're trying to keep the momentum going and the machine going and making up for Ozzy shows and all the things that had to be, that were committed to, that had to be achieved or had to be resolved. They wanted to keep going. So you had to imagine how their heads were spinning, crazy, grieving, ugly, and trying to accept somebody for a second and see if, even making a judgment of somebody that could play with or not.
Yeah.
You know, some cats came in there that could play, you know. But I got there first on the day the first day I auditioned, I got there first early in the morning. Before they got there, probably like 9 in the morning. And I waited all day. Lars wanted to have me play last. That was already his intention because he knew that I had, you know, because of the things that we talked about, tape trading and correspondence throughout the world. When he reached out, see what was going on, my name come up with a lot of people, so he wanted to have me go last. So I waited and watched all the guys coming through the doors and come from the airport and get out of the airport, walk on with their bass, and look through the window and watch what James' reaction was to them. I had this little cubby hole dug out within their road cases. There's like Metallica cases all around me. But, you know, cats would come in and out. If people heard this story before, but it's really pretty crazy. I remember one guy, I don't know where he was from, but it's all the way from the East Coast, so he flew all the way across the United States from one side to the other to the Bay Area, water to water like that. And spent the whole day on the freaking plane. Brought his bass in, and he walks in, and because of his attire and his do and so forth, you know, like fringe on the boots and 3-color hair and you know this kind of stuff.
Wow.
And Hetfield's already in like
strong look.
8 or 10 Coors Lights into the afternoon. You know, and he looks over at this guy. You know, he's like, next. Dude didn't even get to plug in. Dude, he flew all the way. You know, he'd been losing sleep and trying to learn the songs, and his head's all coming over. He gets there, steps in the room, doesn't even get to plug in.
Brutal.
Has to turn right back out the door, go back and get on the plane and fly away.
Jeez.
That was a long flight home.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So there was a few of those things like that, and there was a couple cats that I thought did really good that didn't get called back. I was kind of surprised. I was fine with it, of course.
Yeah.
Surprised that they didn't get called back. So Troy Gregory and Les, I think, and myself, and one other guy, Willie Lang from Las Rocket, got called back. Halloween of '86, October 31, '86, I played the last show with Flotsam and Jetsam. And loaded my SVT and my rig and all my stuff into my old Ford truck and drove back to the Flotsam house where we all lived together and loaded the stuff back in there. Everybody knew I'd already joined Metallica at that time. Been asked to play with Metallica, not joined yet.
Right.
Been asked to play with Metallica. And we're all wearing black armbands for Cliff that night. And, load my gear in and out of the thing. 9 or 10 days later, sold out Budokan with Metallica. So it's like, you know, I went from this to holy in about fast.
So you got the call and you were asked to play with Metallica, right? It's well documented that they gave you a hell of a lot of in those early bits.
Deservedly so.
Was there anything that alluded to that might be the case?
As now the dust has settled and I've been able to look back at everything. It took me like 10 years to come down, actually, so I just came down a little while ago and got this thing together. But I just look back on all these things. We talk about, tons of things that we're going to touch on.
Yeah.
And things that, as I look back on the hindsight thing, any super, hyper exclusive club in the universe, okay, has a bit of a hazing and testing process to know if the person that they've asked to join them is ever going to cut it.
Yeah.
Okay? You have got to go through tests. When you're going to go, do you just become the CEO of a company and just go, he's got a nice suit, let's get him?
Yeah, of course.
You know, you got to go through all of the and everything if you're even to get down at this part of level, let alone the CEO.
Amen.
You got to go through that and that and that to be in this exclusive club right here. So now we're talking about this club that ends up having to be the largest monster of a heavy metal band that ever existed. And even at that time, we all knew that was destiny. We all knew that was going to happen. They were the best at that point already.
Yeah, no messing.
Right, no question about it. So as I look back on it going, I would have grilled me 10 times as much as they grilled me to get in this exclusive club. To let little old me in this thing that they've already achieved. They were already the way of Master of Puppets. They were already on their freaking launch. I mean,
with those 3 records already behind you.
They were mid-trajectory like this. I came in and happened to help with the trajectory keep going. But the fact was they were already on their way. They had to know I was going to be able to make it. So I think it was more of a testing thing. It was a mix between their uncomfortability because of not knowing how to handle the grieving thing, really missing that Cliff was there, and his smarts and his insight and the things that I didn't possess. You know what I mean?
Of course, how could you do Cliff as a one-off?
Right, so between that and just the general thing, like we got to know if he's okay or not, the mixture of those things, that's what got me the grilling. Now, I really have to be, and I want everybody to realize very importantly that things like this across the press, across the world, across any kind of entertainment business, any part of it, little things like this, one thing gets a rumor and one thing gets that and it gets talked about. It's things that can be sensationalized, whether they're bloody or funny or goofy or can make fun of it or whatever that. Those are the things that people jabber about and become some kind of legend or rumor or whatever the heck like that.
The mint sauce wasabi one.
And that's true. That's all of that happened. But it wasn't that bad considering the dividend. I mean, like holy man.
But I do get to be in the greatest band that's ever lived, right?
I'll eat some wasabi if I get to play another sold-out Budokan. Oh, we're at the Tokyo Dome sold out. Okay, send me the hotel bill, bro. I'm fine.
Right.
You know? Because tonight, that's about that much of what I'm making. So, you know what? In perspective, it wasn't that bad. And they really, and there was way more fun and accomplishment and achievement and brotherhood and vibes and that kind of conquering, bulletproof, invincible than any of the hubbub. And all of the hubbub was the first 3 to 6 months. I got asked to join Metallica as a full member in April of 1987.
Right.
Okay, so I had cut the mustard for 6 months, making up all those shows with them, going around, prove that I could do what I could do. Most importantly, on the stage, of course. And then we did garage days. So, the things worked out. They worked out. They saw that I could do it. So after I joined the band, all of that kind of hazing, you made it in the club thing, considerably, tapered off. Now, through time, was I the guy that got picked on through shit? Yes, I was. You know why? Because I was the new guy. Always going to be the new guy. The new guy's always going to get picked on. In our band now, new guy gets picked on. I mean, it's nice not to be the new guy. Newsted, but not the new guy. I like it. But I know why it was the way it was. If it would have been any other way, we wouldn't have lasted for 15 years together. I mean, there's just, it had to happen. We obviously gelled on and off the stage in order for it to make it dominate like it did for so long and still does.
And it's in heavy metal folklore, but do you ever feel like you could have or should have fought a little bit for your bass to be heard a little bit more and had Justice for All?
I would have had no idea who to fight, what was happening,
be like swinging at thin air.
Punching in the dark at nothing. It's 1988. We're on Monsters of Rock during the summer. Scorpions, Van Halen, Dokken. We're playing second on the bill and crushing every. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Just undeniable. No matter who you ask across the board, even Van Halen will go. They kicked our. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was a whirlwind in itself. That was like a big step that was happening, and we did 3-4 shows a week as they moved that giant around the countryside. In between those days, Lars and James were trying to mix, finish record, make an artwork, blah, blah, get all that stuff. I was the dude over here in the band still going, the world's going.
Yeah. How many people?
And I'm like, there's one bass on an album. That's great. I play, I recorded my bass parts. 2 days.
Yeah.
2 days I recorded all the bass parts, then I went home. And then just like I would ever have done in any Flotsam thing up to that point, because that's all I would have known up to that point. We did a couple Flotsam demos. Okay, that one, how long did that take? 6 hours for all the way from the beginning to the ending of the mastering. Okay, how long did that demo take? 8 hours all the way from that to the ending of the mastering. Doomsday for the Deceiver. How long did that take? 6 days from the beginning of the sounds to the end of the mastering. Okay, so you go in with the dude, and then Kelly goes and sits on his drums, and I sit over here and look through the glass on the bass, and I go 2, 3, 4. Okay, that one's done. 2, 3, 4. And that one's done, and that's what we did. There wasn't like a producer, director, guy coming, wait a minute, that needs to be a little more uniform right there. That sounds a little out of tune, man.
Yeah.
You know, or any of the shit that I know now.
Just and go.
You just go.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I knew.
Yeah.
So we did Garage Days, 5 days. To the end, 5 days. Okay, well, so that's how Metallica does it too, right? Okay, listen to the Garage Days. Okay, there it is. The bass is there. It's all mixed real nice. The bass is loud as on Garage Days.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going, here we go.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I knew. So going with the assistant engineer to do the Justice thing. Set up the same rig I recorded Doomsday with and Garage Days with. I sit down, dude puts it on, I go, and play the freaking song. Come back the next day, the other 5 songs, done. Load my back in my truck myself, drive back home.
Still DIY.
Knowing that it's going to come out sounding like Garage Days, going do.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
My boys were busy. They were considerably drunk. Lars liked then. And a lot of things like that. Besides the engineer guys being, I mean, they liked their, we won't even go to those places. Wherever their preferences were, that's what they were able to distract them from making the meat and potatoes of that thing.
Right.
Any record we listen to, doesn't matter if it's Red Fang or whoever our favorite through time.
I know what's going here.
Okay. Gee, who mixed that record? The guitar player! Okay, who mixed that record? Well, considering that the hi-hat is louder than the lead vocal, I'm going to say the drummer.
Yeah, there's no denying it.
That's kind of what happened.
Yeah, when that snare comes in blackened, even now,
And who mixed this record? Sounds like there's only 2 people in the band there. Oh, what 2 people mixed the record? Oh, the 2 guys you can hear? Huh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Totally.
Kirk and I were nowhere in sight when it came to mixes.
Right,
we were in the hotel waiting after the Monsters of Rock gig for the next Monsters of Rock gig. James and Lars flew from the Monsters of Rock gig to Bearsville to keep going back and forth to New York with these guys and mixing. Those are in between those gigs.
Wow, brutal schedule.
So completely spun out. And all that anyway, in addition to being spun out. Full-blown show every day with all the, I mean, we did LA Coliseum at 80-some thousand people at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, under the bright LA sun, and there was no empty seats. That doesn't happen.
So, we're talking on 80,000 people and all these big things that had happened. So, were people within the band and was yourself ready for the level of crazy that it reached post-Black Album?
Yes, I think we were.
Yeah?
Metallica had enough hours and years on the road and honing it and everything. They're ready, including the crew. It's very important. You know, there's 4 faces and bodies and voices and whatever that represent Metallica, but there are thousands of people that make Metallica go. Mm-hmm. And so having the same crew members for years and years and years to make everything just as it's presented is as important as a guitar player warming up for his solos. You know what I mean? That's a big deal to have the same people and knowing what the hell's going on in order for us to present our show the way that people want to come back to see the show again and again. Mm-hmm. It takes more than just the 4 guys. So once that was established and in place, along with our conviction, you know, and that kind of thing, we got together on the Black Album, learned a lot from Bob Rock, learned how to present stuff. I learned how to play bass, you know, like lay down some bass, not just play bass like guitar.
Yeah.
You know, Flotsam, I wrote the songs on the bass, and the dudes on the guitar followed the bass, and then that became the song. Mm-hmm. I realized, you know, man, here's the part of the orchestra that goes, you know, go, so that started coming into play, and the thickness is sad but true, you know. All the dimensions of the orchestra were starting to be in place. So I think that we were ready for it as it was ready for us. If you look at some of the footage, like for those about to rock, the Moscow footage, or Day on the Green footage from those years, we were firing on all cylinders. That possibly the peak of that band, period.
I think, like, picking up on little things on A Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica, there's a particularly poignant moment I found when it came to yourself where you were talking about you were making sandwiches for yourself. You had plans for the future and it didn't involve busting money at left, right and centre. And, like, seeing the difference between that and he's one of my all-time heroes, so I'm not knocking the man, but seeing Lars in a white leather jacket with tassels, like, how was it like to be the guy at the opposite end of that particular spectrum at that point in time?
I mean, I was always comfortable with myself. I know who I am and everything, right? So that, like, I come from a good, strong family and this kind of stuff. So I think I had my feet on the ground in certain capacity for certain things, that those guys didn't have because of my family. And that's a really important thing. I mentioned it before too. But it really is an important thing as you go through everything that you go through, because you have a new family out on the road. From my entire adult life, 23 to 38 years old, up to that point, my family was Metallica and all the crew people of Metallica and stuff. So being on the other side of that, the rock star thing, I was his counter anchor. And I think we probably were each other's through time.
Yeah.
We actually are closer now than, we're actually really good bros. And he's taught me a lot, and I taught him a lot, and I think, without him knowing it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he wouldn't admit it. He wouldn't have admitted it to you back then, but he will admit it to you now. I think that we've all matured a little bit or whatever, grown up a little bit or something like that. But it was strange to see that, because it was important to me to really keep it real. People use that phrase so simply. But it really is important. It's important when you're being pulled in 50 directions at the same time. Head is all swelling up because you're just a human being.
Yeah.
And every freaking minute people are doing this right here. And you're trying to keep your feet on the ground. I'm still just this dude. I'm still just this kid from Michigan that got lucky, practiced my bass really hard, and got in a good band. And
you still felt like that on the Black Album?
I still feel like that right now.
Awesome.
Still feel like that right now. I'm still appreciative every day. I'm grateful to be doing what I'm doing all the time. I'll never forget that. I'll never talk an ill word about Metallica. That's there. I'm always going to be a part of Metallica. Nobody can ever take that away from me.
Yeah, totally.
I ended up being like the most decorated heavy metal bass player in history because of my opportunity that they gave me. So I'm not ever going to let that go. You know what I'm saying? But it was important for me to maintain my normalcy, or whatever it would be perceived as, because of the ways that Lars really wanted to be a rock star. He's built to be one. He's good at it. That's his thing, and peace.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wasn't ever against him for any of those things.
No.
Did I want to be in all the pictures with the white leather jacket? No. The answer is no. I did not want to be.
Buying one yourself?
No, I didn't. But I already did that a long time ago. I have white leather pants. They weren't flaxen. One photo session. So I know
it's
how
my Google image search as soon as we finish.
Yes. I knew what that was about, but at that day and age, at that time we're going through I was really trying to keep the freaking grit in the band, as much as I could. So it was kind of strange.
Did the band kind of as a whole cut that out quite a bit post Guns N' Roses tour? Because it's like, there's a white leather jacket here, but like these guys are like, if the white leather jacket's here, they're like 3 counties that way. did it kind of make everyone go, wow, we're still these guys, and it's important to not run away.
Run away.
Montreal, basically.
I think that. Lars got caught up in that thing with the Guns guys. He really was having fun with that and being a rock star thing, and he wanted to do that for a second. He tasted, he saw that wasn't really right for us necessarily. All of us went off on our own little things and then got back again and grounded and things. So we had to reel him back in. It was all good, but I do want to say something about because there's 2 comments that people come to me and talk about pretty much a weekly basis, I would say, for 20 years. And the one is about it ain't for sandwiches.
Yep.
Right, I got plans for those millions and it ain't for sandwiches. So people come and talk to me about that all the time. And the other one is about you guys. So I think you guys sold out. So sold out every seat in the house every night. So that's like people love that, and they always come up and remind me. But the thing, if you go back and actually look at that when I'm talking about that, like, go talk to Jason, he's making sandwiches over there because he's too cheap to get room service. Right? And I'm like, okay, well, I got plans for these millions, and I'm going to buy myself a country, maybe in Idaho and stuff like that. Well, I have a ranch.
True to your word.
On the border of Idaho and Montana. It's 1 square mile.
Wow. Wow, that's the size of the town I grew up in.
So, you know,
Yeah.
say no more, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
It's like, what the, come on.
Man,
I told you!
Yeah, yeah, he did. Stick around for more from Scuzz meets Jason Newsted. So, I have to say, I think the most underappreciated rock record of the last 25 years is the Load record. I will fight people to the death. Well, people out there already know it because I've banged on about it long enough.
They'll be bruised pretty well.
Yeah. Right? How was it for you creatively at that time? Because we were talking before we were rolling about. I used to read your musical selections in So What magazine, and like it felt very much as a wide-eyed 13-year-old when that record came out that like you were the guy that was representing for Sepultura and Korn and all those bands at that point in time. Whereas the Load records went off in different tangents for what Metallica had done at that point in time and was decidedly less what the stereotypical Metallica fan wanted. How was that for you while those songs were coming together?
It was kind of a disjointed time. A lot of those songs we didn't actually get to rehearse together as a band. You know, we played some of them here and some of them here, and some of them pieced some of them together here and pieced some of them together here like that. But there was so much music, like 30 songs or something to try to make sense of, or heads or tails, or what would go with the other one and what didn't work there, and trying to focus on one song at a time and forgetting about all the others. That's quite a task. You know, trying to just make that one what it is, but then when that one's done, it has pieces of these ones over here because you weren't paying enough attention that these ones were existing too in the album that you wanted to present. So that kind of thing was a little confusing. Within those songs, you know, at that time, I feel on those records especially, I don't know if it's just because I was keeping a distance, my own self-made thing, or that those guys were being more protective of the songs. But James and Lars seemed to be very closed in on those ones.
Okay.
And we eventually got to come in and do some pieces on those, you know, on those songs, but it was still, it seemed like a little more protected for some reason. I don't know why. By them, that's what I remember. But you know, we went back and we made some of the music in Los Angeles, some in San Francisco, and some in New York. Lived in New York City for a while to make that record. That was kind of weird, in general too, for San Francisco Bay Area guys to be there. There's so many distractions going on in a place like that you can't really focus on the music. I would always vote for going to a place like when we made the Echo Brain record. Up in Northern California, it's a self-contained studio. You go and you lock it down for a month or a month and a half. There's a shelf, and there's a shelf. There's a chef that cooks and all those kind of things in quarters, and you stay there. And there's no stores or anything or any kind of civilization. It's just in the mountains, really. You're just there to make the music. And I prefer to do that thing. When there's more distractions, then of course it takes longer to make the record, and it isn't quite as focused and doesn't have the teeth that it probably should have. So I think that a lot of that took place, and there was a lot of personal challenges within that time for the members of the band, like doing their own things, first marriages and second marriages and children, and all these things like that. So a lot of that played a part in how those records were made, as far as the focus and the get down, nose to the stone thing. That's what I remember. And
do you have favourite tracks from those particular records?
You know, I can't remember a lot of titles. I cannot remember the titles of these songs. I couldn't, you know, say the Load record goes, here's the sequence, bam, 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 bam. Bam, bam. There's no way I could do that. I really couldn't tell you which one 2x4 was on, and I couldn't tell you which one Fuel was on. I don't know.
Load, reload.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So I just don't, I really didn't pay attention to it in that way. When you get that close to it, listen to retakes and remixes and bass up and bass down and voice up and blah, blah, all these different things. After a while, I don't think I ever really sat and listened to those albums in their entirety as a fan or anything like I have with the other records.
Okay. So I guess we'll fast forward a couple of years. I can't imagine the moment where you decided, I can't do this anymore. Do you remember the moment where I mean, presumably I got that. I think it's a misnomer, the Echo Brain thing, that people seem to think that it's because of Echo Brain, like you left to do Echo Brain, where it was more like there'd been all of these times on the run up to it where you'd been like, well, actually I want to do that and I want to do that and I'd quite like to produce these guys, and like it was like the sum of all parts. But like I can't imagine after going through all that and that being a frustration, do you remember the moment where you went, I can't do this anymore, enough?
Yeah, I do. I've never told the story. I'm not sure if I should tell it now, actually.
Only talk about what you're comfortable about now.
There was a lot leading up to it, you know, through time. No, the Echo Brain thing was another. It was started out as a project with these kids that were very, very promising, just like a million other projects that I've done. Could have been. I mean, you know, I played with the Voivod guys for how many, 11 or 12 years before I even started the Echo Brain project. You know, 14 years before I made any records with Voivod, I was playing with Voivod. You know, I mean, I'm always jamming with people and doing my thing. Echo Brain was just another project at that particular time, but I wanted to get more serious about it because I felt that it deserved it. The very upside down thing, I don't think anybody knows. The management of Metallica was very, very excited about Echo Brain. Like, wanted to take it out for me.
Right.
Okay, wanted me to do Echo Brain also with Metallica. They felt Echo Brain was that good, the singer was that good. And it didn't affect Metallica because it was a totally different kind of thing, and I was in Metallica, that would give it its pedigree already. And so they had told me, you know, pretty convincingly, this is a great record, we've been playing it around the office, that's all I've been hearing, it's fantastic, this kid has a great voice, let's do something with this. Okay, that's what they told me. And then James heard about it and was not happy. And he was, I think, pretty much out to put the kibosh on the whole thing because it would somehow affect Metallica in his eyes because now the managers were interested in something I was doing that had nothing to do with him. I was writing my own songs and doing my own thing. And I'm not sure inside him, I don't know why or what or anything. I'm not going to say anything bad.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what he was thinking other than just protecting what he valued, just like he does. That's his thing. He protects what he loves. Squeezes it too hard, like he said it himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Squeeze it too hard. You know, protecting it too much. But that's where I was coming from. The people that I had counted on for 15 years to help me with my career, help Metallica, take care of my money, do all of those things, told me, your new project is fantastic, we'd like to help you with it. James heard about it. The manager calls him back a couple days later, sorry, we're not going to be able to help you with that Echo Brain thing. Okay, so I'm like, okay. So I put all this money in it, worked really hard, went up in the mountains and made the record. Fantastic record. A diamond, Kirk Hammett called it. A diamond.
Wow.
Yep. I mean, his wife played it in their car and he would get sick of it. I remember that. Actually, Lars's next to last girlfriend, really liked Echo Brain a lot. Would play it in his car too and make him crazy. I know that. It just kind of happened. But between those two things, I was very confused. You know, I'd been dedicated to Metallica and everything came first. I mean, everything came after. What I'm saying, the band came first and everything came after Metallica. I sacrificed many, many things. Like, rewards were great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining.
No, of course.
I'm just saying I made great sacrifices to be the guy that I wanted to be in that band. First one in, last one out. Play every show like I'm never going to get to play again. All of that type of thing. I really try to do that. So when he did that to me after all those years and all the things we'd been through, and help each other reach our own goals and our collective goals, it hurt. And I was like, man, really, dude, you don't view me as this equal person to you, like how much I respect you. You just respect me that much? That's a really hard thing for me to, does not compute. Computer says no.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Totally.
Okay, so just not working.
Yeah.
And so we went to do making of the Black Album for that classic album.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
It was on September 27th. You know what day that is?
Mm-hmm. The day of Cliff.
So on September 27th in 2000, we went to LA together to the place that we made the Black Album to talk about the Black Album. And I had copies of the Echo Brain thing I was passing around. Bob Rock is there, Andy Staub's there, and the guys, let me have one. Oh, dude, that's great. Oh, I heard some, but it's really fantastic. And James is in the room, not liking it. Mm-hmm. And we went about our business, and we did our first thing. We set up for this thing. You guys are going to play that song, we're going to film that. Okay, we go and play. Now we're going to do that, and James Lauer's going to talk over there, and we're going to film that, take a break. As they go around, the TV, the TV.
Yeah.
So he pulls me aside and he says, so what's your plan with this music? What do you plan on doing? And I said, we got to get a record together. I plan on taking it out to people and do a few shows that, as long as it doesn't get in the way of Metallica stuff. So you plan on selling T-shirts and everything? I'm like, yeah, probably. Well, I'm not sure I'm good with this. He went on to say, I'm not sure exactly what they were just saying because my head started spinning and whirling and really feeling like a little kid being reprimanded after all the things we went through. And he's younger than me. And that in itself is just kind of, you know what I mean? He said other arrangements can be made. He looks me in the eye. That's the answer to your question. I've never told the world that before, ever.
Yeah.
So we better be very careful with this.
Nope.
But that's the deal. Other arrangements can be made. That was the moment. On Cliff's Day. Okay?
Wow.
Both bass players left the same day.
That's a head and a half.
Same day we both left.
As an outsider, it felt very once the Echo Brain thing had kind of been and gone, you went and done the Aussie thing. That felt very out of the frying pan into the fire from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
Was it weird being part of the Aussie organisation?
Well, in between that time of January of 2001, when I called the meeting to tell the band I was leaving, everybody already knew. I had already let Kirk know. Actually, the night that we just spoke of, September 27th,
right.
I told him that night as we went to the airport together to fly back home. Had a beer, and I told him I was going to leave.
Did he believe? Did he believe you?
You better think about that for a while. You really better think about that for a while.
Yeah, I could imagine.
I'm like, yeah. And then I had Lars over about a week later, maybe 2 weeks later. He came to the Chop House, which was not a frequent thing. And I said, okay, I'm going to go. I said, I can't deal with the way that things are happening, and I'm not appreciated, and all this kind of thing. So
Did they really believe that you were going to walk out?
And actually, Lars said to me, I'll beat you out the door. And I said, probably not. And so that they knew it was coming for 3 months. I told the other guys, Kirk 4 months, Lars 3 months, knew that it was going to happen, so that they would have some kind of warning about whatever plans they needed to make or whatever like that. And I was actually hoping that they would think about it for a minute and get together.
Is it worth it?
Aside from me and say, let's go talk to our boy. Yeah. He might be a little ill, you know?
Yeah.
And so I called the meeting. I wasn't going to screw up anybody's Christmas. That was my whole thing. Seriously.
No. I think it speaks volumes that was what you were thinking.
My dad told me that any kind of major decision, if you're going to buy a house or do any kind of thing like this or get married and stuff, 3 months, give it 3 months to really drill it, man. Really go over every possible thing, and then you can make a decision. If you're dropping hundreds of thousands for a house, you're doing this or that, you know, make sure you know you're doing the right thing. So I thought about it for 3 months and thought about it and went on and on and on. It was what was going to take place. I had a lot of confidence in Echo Brain, and I was feeling really sour about the Metallica thing and that. So January 8th, called him, actually it was the 10th, called a meeting at Four Seasons and walked in the room, and I think Kirk was there already. And a guy that I didn't know was sitting there with glasses and a ball hair and a real bright colored sweater. Excuse me, sir, who are you? I'm Phil Toll, and
Oh, you met that guy?
Let me go on.
Yeah, sorry.
I said, I'm Phil Toll, and I've been asked by your managers to come here and talk to you guys. And he's got his Super Bowl ring on. And I said, what's your status? What's your title? So I help pro sports teams, and I help big organizations like this get along so they can carry on with their whatever their work is. Like, it's nice to meet you. You don't know me. You don't know our band. You haven't been through what we've been through. I'm really glad that they brought you here. Get the out of this room.
Totally fair.
Just like that. I didn't ask it nice. Because I was not in the mood for anything but unleashing.
Yeah.
And I planned on crying for the next 3 weeks after it and all that. So I was on the edge of erupting and giving away my dream, basically throwing it away.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I mean, tossing it away.
Yeah.
With this knucklehead in the room that had no idea about anything, didn't even know my middle name or where I was born or what we'd been through together. No way he could know what we'd been through together.
No.
And just like it says in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, like squillions of dollars for real that we had made decisions about and made the world go round and dominated to be the biggest band of all time. The four of us, the way we played, the way we worked, the way we made happen. You know, it didn't have anything to do with this guy.
Yeah.
So he left the room and went out and put his ear to the door.
Oh, man.
And he said, man.
It's an endearing mental image, it has to be said, man.
But so the boys came in and I just told them what was going on. And I felt really bad and I wanted to take a year off for everybody to get their together. And I think that it was at a time when James had he missed his son's first birthday.
Oh yeah,
you know,
it was
different kind of thing. I mean, all just
different
things, just different things that people are getting divorces for the first time, having their first babies. We'd been on the locomotive going full bore, like the freaking furnace stoked all the way for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like this, not like this or like that, like this.
Yeah, totally.
And nothing coming before the band. Everything like last minute stuff, things you'd be planned with your family for months to go do something. Last minute, to say on the day.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, you got to go do this video for this thing, VH1, blah, blah, whatever the
Yeah.
Ends up, you go there, you wait around for 6 hours, you go and play for 5 minutes, they put 2 minutes of it on the TV, and then go back home, but you miss the whole family thing just for that 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, once again, not complaining, just stating the facts, right? That's just how it was. And went full bore, all the tours that everybody knows about, all the landmark things that happened, James, and for better or for worse, James being burned, broken arms, neck and shoulder injuries, alcoholism, drug addiction, all the things that go along with the program.
Yeah.
All that stuff is taking place and currently ongoing, whatever, at that moment, January 10th of 2001. As I look back once again through my super hindsight vision,
of course.
If anyone, and the powers that be, that we had taken part in earning millions of dollars, we earned millions of dollars for each other because they set us up for the opportunities we wouldn't kick their ass. But we still earned millions for each other. And they were still taking millions from our hard work and our sweat. Those people should have come in and like, how you doing in there, mate?
Like, light in the eyes.
Yeah, are you okay in there?
Yeah.
How is your health? How is your family? How is your drug addiction? How's your neck? How's your, are you okay?
Yeah.
Maybe we should take some months off, get the monster back in order, and go and kick some ass again. Right? That kind of thing. But nobody did that. Nobody checked the mental status of the guys that were earning all those squillions and making the world go round. Nobody did that. They just said, let's go, let's keep going, let's keep going. And ignorance.
Yeah, right.
Straight ignorance. Like they only care about that.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I was broken down in a freaking puddle on the floor an hour into this meeting, just destroyed. They come in after we'd been talking for an hour. The managers walk in. What the hell's going? And they could see me just dead, and Lars had been crying. Everybody's like, and they go, so, well, I guess you didn't talk him out of it, huh? Okay, so welcome. So here we go. And he pulls out these pile of papers and starts throwing the papers just like any other meeting, just like any other day, any other meeting, any other time, any other year, Wichita, Kansas, or London, or whatever, right? Passes out the papers. Okay, so MTV on the 8th, 3 o'clock, and then the show, and then we got the Grammys and the, let's see. So let's go to page 2, and, and everybody's looking at. And Lars looks at me and goes, do you hear?
Yeah.
Did you hear what he just said?
Yeah.
Right? And that's fine. Just peeling through it like it was nothing.
Whoa.
Just nothing. Like expendable, And I go, gee, who's making the right decision right now?
Yeah, man.
This guy, right here.
Yeah.
This guy, right here.
Totally fair.
You know what I'm saying?
So what did...
my neck was up. I needed some time.
Yeah.
Everybody was screwed up. I needed to go to a doctor. I needed physical help. I was addicted to painkillers already at that point.
Oh, wow.
Before I even got going on surgeries, I was already addicted. I needed some help.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody needed some help. James was so drunk, man. We were there at whatever time in the morning. A dude was already hitting beers that tall. Them big ones.
Yeah, I've seen your forearm-sized cans you do in the States.
And so that, none of us were in a good state of any of the things, and there's so many secrets and stuff that everybody had too that should have really been probably dealt with, not in public like they were, which was real I think.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't have been put out on the screen for people to see the secrets that we're seeing. But there were many more than that should have been dealt with in a private way, considering all the money that was being earned and everything that was being generated for the thousands of people around the world by the 4 guys.
Yeah.
So that's what should have happened, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
All anymore.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020.
Right, that's exactly what happened, though, is that they didn't, the respect was just all over the place. And then said 1 week from now, let's get back together in this same room, and we'll talk, see if anything can be resolved or if we're going to make this happen or not. Came back 1 week later, I had my press announcements ready. Said, this is it. And are you really doing it? Nobody called me during the week. Nobody said, hey, dude, you sure about this? You want to talk about it? You want to get together for dinner?
Wow.
Let's talk about it or whatever like that. Just.
Wow.
After all that time.
So I have to ask, where were you when you first saw Some Kind of Monster, and what did you think?
My wife and I, my now wife, then girlfriend, were in Montana at the ranch. Thank you very much. And, going 70 miles per hour in the driveway because it's 2 miles long.
Yep. Off I go. Mind blown.
Came back and we'd heard that the movie came out. We went to our local refurbished old school theater, right? And they were showing it because it's their local heroes, right? So they were showing it at the little tucked away place there in the Bay Area. It was me and my girl and 3 kids about 4 rows back. And I sat right in the very middle, like, as if it was a private showing. Private showing, man. Got my smoke on, went in there, just watching us. I'm going, really? You guys? Holy shit. And I started,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, and I kept going on like that, and because I had to.
I can only imagine having lived
it. Was a couple years out. I was out for a couple years already when I saw it.
Yeah.
So I'd been able to distance myself already, kind of get the outsider view on it a little bit, like the fan thing.
Totally.
Not good. That was like unsavory bits that should be kept in private. I felt that they were exposing too much. In the beginning, when I saw it and talked to people in interviews about it, there are some humans, as you dig into them psychologically or whatever like that, if you send there, want to do that thing, if you want to dig into them, and you want to do that analysis or something. There are some persons that their cans are not meant to be opened. The black worms that exist inside are not meant to be exposed to the light. They need to stay there.
Yeah.
They can be dealt with and talk to other people. They're not meant to be exposed to the public. And when you have someone as deep as Hetfield and that kind of thing, you don't open that can. I think it's a very dangerous thing because of what we talked about earlier in the interview, a person's capacity to handle certain things like this that they just don't have.
A little
those
bit like an ant under the microscope.
Yeah. You just don't have those tools. And so I think that's part of the situation. Is they opened up a guy that shouldn't have been opened up that much, and it kind of this thing came out, and he was searching and trying to figure out how to make sense of it. Why not just share it with everybody so I'm not hiding anything somehow? And then within Joe Berlinger and the other guys, he trusted those movie makers. And so, I think I'm not sure what they say now about it 10 years later. I'd be interested to see what they say about it now that all that time has gone by, and maybe they can look at it a little objectively as well. But so getting back to the theater by ourselves, watching that thing, and when my part came on, I was very proud. The edits that they made were very true. I said what I said. It was all real, and I felt that I came out of it shining.
Yeah.
And because I was, as always, as honest as I possibly can be.
It's like a razor blade in that film.
And so
moment.
I feel I still to this day feel good about the way I conducted myself on any part of this whole thing.
Right, so now, to bring the Metallica stuff full circle, doing the 30th anniversary shows. Now, as someone from the other side of the world, who I couldn't afford flights at the time, Met Club member, I remember looking and seeing it's cool that Halford's there. It's cool that King Diamond's out and rocking again, and it was even cool that Mustaine was there. But it was like that. You had got up there and having come out of that whole Some Kind of Monster thing, and there being a bit more of a long-running story, it felt like a very warm and great, as a Metallica fan, it felt like a really great thing that there was kind of a rubber stamp and everyone was cool again. I can only was it like that on the stage, and what was the rush before walking out and like going again?
Yeah, the 30th anniversary thing was really an incredible magical time. The whole week, and there was no way I could have predicted its influence or the outcome. That the difference it's made in my life, there's no way I could have predicted it. I knew people would be happy to see me, and I knew I certainly was going to be happy to see them. I had no idea about the welcoming. I had no idea how warm and joyous and just holy cut it with a chainsaw. You know, the people were so happy and so receptive, and there's 20 or 30 languages represented on the floor there.
Oh God, yeah.
So the world is really represented. And I walked in. I was trying to be really, really humble. I came in head down, back entrance, just really cool with my girl and my friend, keeping it cool. It's an old theater where there's a balcony up top, and proper. And this side of the balcony was the VIP section. And so they walked me up there, and I'm trying to stay away. There's like probably 10 or 12 layers deep of people, all the way up to the box seats, and then crowds down here, and there's the wall. And so I walk in. I'm about 4 or 5 people in, just kind of making my way. And I see Ray Burton and Lars's dad, Torben, are sitting together on one of the box seats, looking out over the thing like the old guys in the Muppets, man. It's the old. It's all the kids there on the floor, and Jimmy Brewer's on the stage making jokes, so all are facing this way. And Ray motions me over, and I go over to hug him, and we hug like that, and then I catch a kid's eye down on the floor like this. He sees me hugging Ray, and he just like that.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
And the whole floor turns this way, towards the side, not facing the stage anymore.
Yeah, man.
Every
no surprise
like
at all.
that.
Yeah,
like they
yeah.
were instructed to do it, like that. And I look down, and they're like that. Do what?
Yeah.
And I kind of back up a little bit because I didn't want to. Somebody's on stage. You're not supposed to distract things. Like that. When you go up to watch another band, you're not supposed to be out there so everybody can see you.
Of course.
Stay back here.
Absolutely.
So I'm trying to play that. I'm trying to be humble, man. I'm trying to play back. And Ray goes, and he pulls me back, and he goes, give him some. And so I wave, and they, right, like that. I'm like, I hadn't even played yet or nothing.
Yeah.
Just standing there. I'm like, holy. And I was just excited to get on like any other time. I treated it like it was a Metallica show, even though I was only going for 3 or 4 songs. I kind of took over one of the backstage rooms there where the people were, where the girls, the wardrobe girls were, everybody. I knew my whole family there. I mean, so they're doing their thing. I kind of moved their stuff aside. I put my stuff in there, did my stretches, set up my thing, did my vocal warm up, just like I was at a Metallica show. Just like I fell right into it. I mean, it was exactly like a week had passed. We had a week off to go home, and since we were in San Francisco, I just drove over to the gig. And I got there, and there I was, doing my stretch again, ready for the show, waiting for, Halford's on, oh, Deacon, that's nice, not good, I'm not even going to watch it, that's nice, because it doesn't matter, because I'm playing. Don't matter who's playing before me, because I'm playing. Right? And that whole thing, and just getting psyched up, listen to my song, got a couple songs I always listen to before I go on, get that stuff going, get ready for the thing, go up there and kick ass, went on stage, and holy crap. Kids went nuts, and I talked to Lars, and he said, "What songs you want to play? Fastest ones. You got to play the 2 fastest songs off of every record. That's 14. That's what I'm doing. Ready, go." So that's every damage, fire, battery, everything. That's it. So well, somebody's already doing Motor Breath. Well,
that's like Whiplash then.
That's fine, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we did, and each night got better. By the 3rd night was the true epiphany. I mean, I just really got floored by the people. And dude, this is what you're supposed to be doing. What the are you thinking?
Yeah.
This is obviously what you're supposed to be doing. So here we are, a year and a half later, after that show, world tour, LP coming out.
This is like one of the most exciting bits of the whole thing. Coming back, like the EP was exactly what I'd hoped for from a Newsted record.
Nice.
It's all the power of the riff. The whole thing is all riffed out. Yep. Is that what we're going to expect from a full-length Newsted record?
I think that the EP is a good indicator, as when the EP was
King of the Underdogs, man.
Whenever the EP was invented back in the day to be the primer or sampler of the LP to come, I think that's a fair assessment of what's going on now. So Soldier Head and King of the Underdogs will reappear on the LP.
Oh, right, cool.
So Godsnake and Skyscraper will all be the instant classics that exist on the EP only. I think that EP is representative of what's going to happen, and live, we're playing a lot of new songs, and it's been the response from people has been very good. We're asking a lot from the crowd to be responding to songs that they've never heard before.
Yeah,
a couple songs, Soldier Head, or whether they maybe heard a couple times, but for the most part, it's all brand new music. So considering that, I think we're doing really, really good. It's a lot of new challenges for me. Singing, being the front man, my name's on it, it's my songs, my voice, my words. I mean,
were you tempted to give it a band name?
Yes. I never really intended to do this. I really, 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 really didn't plan on coming back out into the world with music or anything like that. Never did.
Because you disappeared off the radar. Like post Voivod, it was like Jason Newsted.
Yes, yep. All the things that I did, I never stopped playing music. I've recorded and played more music out of Metallica than I played in Metallica. But
forgive my ignorance. What were the things within that post Voivod
time? Okay, so as soon as Echo Brain obviously is from the top, and then I joined Voivod right after that.
Aussie for a tour, Voivod.
September of 2002, started Voivod just as I was finishing Echo Brain. So I ended up making 3 albums with Voivod from 2003 to 2008. So that was in the pieces, and then I did a bunch of recording with Government Mule, recording with Sepultura, recording with DJ Shadow, recording with Tina Turner.
Holy!
Yeah, I mean,
that must have been mind blowing.
Yeah, so a lot of got called out by a lot of different people. Some I said yes to, some I said no to.
Right, fair.
But I still get offers all the time for different cool things.
Yeah.
But that existed the whole time. So whether it was above the board, like international release and the limelight or anything like that, was a couple, I know the Tina Turner single thing it was #1 in Europe and a few different places. Played on this single with an Italian vocalist named Elise, and I know that was #1 in Italy. So just a lot of different flavors of music through time.
Yeah,
kept all that going. So I really kept that. From December 2004 to the middle of 2008, I had 3 different surgeries on my shoulders. So I had one here, and then back to here again. And it pretty much debilitated me from being the monster for 4 years.
Back to full banging now?
Yeah, so I'm 95% is all I could ever be now because of the damage it's done. It's flesh and bone, and it's just what it is, my vertebrae from this thing.
We've seen how hard you've gone over the years.
Watch some videos, no mysteries.
Yeah.
It's like...
I always remember the fact that your Justice for All action figure was mid-headbang, which kind of sums up what we're saying.
It's just kind of perpetual.
Yeah.
So those years were taken away from me as far as trying to really play anything serious. I could do some studio stuff, and a lot of that studio stuff I just mentioned I did in those times. So there's a lot of time where I had this, my arm was fixed like this. Oops. My arm was fixed like this, and I could fit a Parker Fly guitar, which is 2 pounds, it's about that wide. And I could fit it in between my stomach and my sling here. I play like that.
Wow.
So I did that as much as I could.
Yeah.
But as far as like any kind of full thing, so I started painting instead, and then learned to use both hands the same because I had to. So I was without that one, then without that one, then without that again. So now I use both the same, which is better for my playing, and all the paintings are done with both hands. And so it's just kind of everything for a reason. Give me some lemons, get that wicked lemonade.
And so the epiphany came at the 30th anniversary thing.
Yep.
Was it partly that like the reaction of people there made you go, people still want metal from me?
Pretty much entirely.
Yeah, cool.
The people, the catalyst was the energy from the people being so happy after all the years. Like they'd saved it up for a decade to show me, and about 2 weeks before Lars had called saying they were going to do this thing, I'd been out with Papa Wheelie, doing my thing, and we opened for Anvil and Caius and Sword and did all these cool stony metal shows and stuff around the Bay Area, and I was loving it, man, because nobody really knew who we were, and I could slab it out. We know where the song starts, but where it ends, nobody knows. It's like that kind of
totally.
Just loud as crap. So I was feeling it again. I got bit a little bit, and Lars called. I'm like, right? And then I just needed that extra little push. And so when I finally, the people gave me that was, I would say 98% of it was the people screaming me back into it. And that's why I'm doing it now. I will have you know that on these shows, these 60 or 70 that we're in the middle of right now, as we play around Europe and do the Sonospheres and downloads and all that, and then we go on Gigantour with Megadeth. There is no profit in this for me. There is zero profit, or actually less than zero profit on any of these 70 shows. I'm doing it because I want to do it. I was in a band once. I was a part of a band. that did pretty well.
Yeah, they were all right.
And I didn't put those earnings up my nose, you know.
Yeah,
and I drank some of them.
Yeah.
But I didn't put them on my face.
Yeah.
And I invested and I did all that thing. So by the Black Album doing so well, back and us working so hard, then makes this possible for my band to come and play for the people. I'm bringing the metal to the people because I feel like it. Right now, there's no money in it for me. I'm just doing it because I want to do it. I want to just show them. You know, there's a lot of cool things that happen with reunions. I'm proud of some of the people that come back and do them. But many of them end up being what, I don't know, it could tarnish the legend that you already had created or something like that. And that's a dangerous thing.
Okay.
Fans expect to see a certain thing from the band that they loved at a certain time. When they come back and they don't see what they expect or it doesn't exist anymore, then it's kind of a disappointment.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? Or if they come and they see 5 times the band that they saw before or something like that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That goes the same way. It's a disappointing thing, you know? So I'm the same fighting weight I was on the Black Album. You know, it's the same, I am the same kid. The calendar went by, but I am the same person like we started talking about at the very beginning of this. I'm the metal kid, that Motorhead's still my favorite, and that thing, you know what I'm saying? I'm still that guy. I just happened to get lucky in that way and I wasn't forced to grow up. I can make grown-up decisions for lots of money, but I don't have to grow up because I can still be loud, my work is play, and all that kind of thing. And I want to keep that mentality going for as long as I can, you know. 2013,
a great time to be Jason Newsted.
It is. It really is.
Thanks so much
Happy
for your time
to be alive,
today,
man.
man.
Thank you.
Scuzz, Jason Newsted.